Hello, this is Maggie Borders. Today I will be talking about enhancement in the Triple E framework. So, for this section, I will be analyzing whether Nearpod offered enhancement of learning goals through technology. And this piece of assessment is important as it determines whether the technology is replacing a traditional method or helping students reach a deeper level of meaning that is only possible with technology. So to look at the first piece, does the technology tool aid students in developing or demonstrating a more sophisticated understanding of the content? If we look at using the Nearpod virtual reality trips, field trips that I looked at previously, for example, going to visit the Eiffel Tower or the Louvre Museum or the Arc de Triomphe, um, I would envision that the Nearpod virtual reality platform is a great launching point for students to learn about several landmarks, to learn about them at a high level, and then provide a launching point to do independent research about one chosen landmark, for example, in an assignment. I don't anticipate that they would be able to use Nearpod to complete the assignment, solely with this platform, but I do think it would provide a launching point for a web-based project that would incorporate creativity, critical thinking skills, and research. Looking at whether the technology creates scaffolds to make it easier to understand concepts or ideas. It depends on how Nearpod is used. So, for the drill and practice exercises I showed in the engage section, for example, the matching or the fill in the blank pieces, the technology does not create scaffolds. It just exists as a drill and practice opportunity, which I do think has some place in the world language classroom, but it's not a proven long term learning method. But for the Nearpod virtual reality lessons, the technology allows students to experience French landmarks through interactive opportunities that go beyond textbooks and worksheets. And so, depending on how Nearpod virtual reality resources are used, the technology could create a path for students to explore the real world in a way that a traditional tool could not. And so, this represents a value added enhancement of learning. Looking at whether the technology creates paths for students to demonstrate their understanding of the learning goals in a way that could not be done with traditional tools. So, working with the idea that enhancement is about the quality of the work done with the technology over the quantity of work done. So, we don't need to be incorporating technology into every lesson, but when we are incorporating it, what is the quality of it? So, I think Nearpod has a place in the classroom. So again, to look at the virtual reality trips in the world language classroom, it's not possible to take students to see all those landmarks in person, of course. So a virtual reality field trip is a fantastic opportunity to explore. The Nearpod exercises that I created and showed in the engagement section, if we're looking again at those matching or fill in the blank activities, those do fall into the drill and practice category, which is not compatible with the Triple E framework. But the virtual reality field trips offer students choice as they learn about various landmarks and provide an opportunity to get up close to the history and culture. So, this shows why the Triple E framework is important, because if we have one platform like Nearpod, you've got certain things that are drill and practice, which are not proven methods for the use of technology, but you also have things like a virtual reality field trip. So one platform with lots of different opportunities, and this is where I think the Triple E framework comes in because it does, it forces the educator to really discern whether it is a technology that has place, and if we're looking at that platform, in what ways can it be used? Because not all technologies across the board are going to be able to enhance the experience.